From the top to the bottom, at the core, I forgot, in the middle of my thoughts. Take it.
What's good, YouTube? Your boy 21 here today, presenting, as you guys can obviously see, how to beat Burning Abyss. And the reason why I did this video is because, for one, this is what I do on my channel. I tell you guys how to beat decks. And for two, I find it kind of odd that I went this whole format without trying to make a video on how to beat Burning Abyss. And I know Burning Abyss is one of those decks that are up everyone's ass right now. The deck just pluses for days. It whooped my ass at regionals, and with my experience from regionals and my experience throughout the format, I feel like I have the best cards in Arsenal to beat the deck. And a lot of them are pretty known cards, and some cards are not used a lot. But as I always do in my beating series, I'm going to give you guys the deck's weakness, the deck's strength, the best cards to side for the deck, and the best budget decks to play for the deck if you're a player like me who was on a budget and don't want to invest a lot of money into this game. So without further ado, let's begin. The deck strength. As you guys can see, the deck strength is everything floats. The deck can tutor for tour guide consistently, and the deck can run the best traps in the game. So let's start by saying what do I mean by everything floats? Everything in the deck basically replaces itself. I don't know all of the names. I know when one dies, he searches one out the deck to the hand. Well, he searches the level 3 lower deck to the hand, which adds the tour guide or another Burning Abyss. I know one replaces himself when he dies to the field. I know Dante, I believe Dante adds a card from the hand, and etc. So everything in the deck pretty much replaces itself in some way, shape, or form, which is the reason why the deck is really good. And also that with the way the deck works, everything functions for when stuff is sent to the graveyard. So if you're using to pay for a XYZ material, you get their effects. If you're using to discard for a card like, let's say, Dark World Dealings or a Geki Breaker, Phoenix Wing Blast, which is the most commonly played trap card in the deck, everything replaces itself, making cards like Phoenix Wing Blast or Geki Break, Divine Wrath, some of the best trap cards in the game, pretty much have no cost, which is very powerful for this deck to use. Now, let's go on to the deck weaknesses. Deck weaknesses. It loses pretty easily to Floodgates, granted if they don't have an out to it. It's very tour guide reliant, meaning like tour guide makes and breaks all of this deck's plays because the deck can tutor tour guide. I honestly believe if tour guide wasn't a card, the deck would be decently good, but it wouldn't be as consistent because you have to special summon everything for your hand versus tour guide tutoring the whole deck for you and making the deck's best boss monster, which is Dante. And the deck being trap heavy, it almost auto loses against cards like Royal Decree, Trap Stun, because you can shut off your opponent's entire back row, then you can just OTK them for game. Granted, if you can get past their field by sending stuff to the graveyard using cards like D-Fish and etc. So let's start off with some of the best cards that can beat the deck. Your Floodgates. And if you guys don't know what the term Floodgate means, Floodgate is basically a card that basically just, once you activate it, gives you instantly advantage over the deck. And this deck has 3 Floodgates. One of the Floodgates is at 3. The other Floodgates are at 1. First Floodgate is Shadow Imprisonment Mirror. You guys already know. Negate all dark monsters effects on the field and or graveyard. Meaning, they don't get none of the effects when they go to the graveyard. And Tour Guide won't get her effect on the field, which is very powerful. The only problem is they can still spam the field from the hand with their effect that says special summon one guy from, if you don't have back row to the field. So if they spam out 2 of those guys, they can probably make a Dante and go off on you. But with that being said, Dante won't be as powerful because if Dante mills into the graveyard to try to run over one of your monsters, they won't get their effects. Then Macrocosmos, honestly, if this card was at 3, I feel like this deck probably wouldn't be a deck because Macro Gadgets will be a thing, Macro Rabbit will be a thing, and etc. So Macrocosmos instant auto win to the deck. If everything from this deck goes to the graveyard, they won't plus, the deck won't gain advantage, and the deck will just lose momentum. Same pretty much goes for Soul Drain. The only difference between Soul Drain and Macrocosmos versus Shadow Mirror is Soul Drain and Macrocosmos don't stop Tour Guide, so which is one of the main problems of the deck. Tour Guide searching out everything, getting the deck going. But Macrocosmos and Soul Drain do stop Dante when he goes to the graveyard. so Dante won't recur the effect, which is something Shadow Mirror does stop. So they all go hand in hand if you run multiples. Honestly, in my side deck, I run 3 Shadow Mirror, 1 Macro, and Soldier because this deck is very powerful and it can catch you off guard like it did me at the regionals this past weekend. Because if you don't draw 20 outs, you lose. Macrocosmos is honestly though the best card to draw against the deck. Now, your summon traps. Summon traps are basically the cards that you want to side deck because they help you out against multiple matchups, and they're cards that give you auto advantage versus the deck. Start off with Chain Disappearance. You guys already know Chain Disappearance. When your opponent summons a monster with 1,000 less attack, you banish all copies in your opponent's hands. You banish that monster, all copies in the hand, and deck from your opponent's deck and send to the banish pile. So that stops things like the tour guide. You hit the tour guide, they're pretty much going to lose. You hit the guy that searches out everything in the deck, they're pretty much probably going to lose. I don't side it, so I really don't know, but going based off information I've read. And yeah, so if you stop in tour guide, I feel like honestly the deck just auto loses because they're gonna have to play harder to catch back up with you versus just getting that auto Dante play, which is very powerful. As you guys already know, Chaos Trap Hole is one of my favorite cards because not only is it good against this deck, it's also good against the Tellarknights, banishing the Nebs, and Chaos Trap Hole is also good for banishing Dante if Dante won't get his effect off. So yeah, I like Chaos Trap Hole because it's flexible, and like you guys know my theory, running the Solemn Warning and a Chaos Trap Hole, it's just like playing back in 2012 format. Double Warning means GG no re. Same thing goes for Pulling the Rug. And honestly, Pulling the Rug is very powerful because it not only does it stop the tour guide play, it helps you out game 2 because, you know, game 2, they're going to be siding in their cards to stop the floodgates, which is either a Ryza or a Mobius. So with Pulling the Rug, you can stop their Mobius plays because if you set it while you have Shadow Mirror on the field and they go Mobius, you can pull in the rug Mobius, stopping his effect on the summon, destroying the Mobius, and continue your onslaught with whooping their ass with a Shadow Imprisoned Mirror. Very powerful, and it helped that one girl, Jackie, top ARG Iowa, and I was citing it for a while. I took it out because I was mainly citing it for Tellarknights, but now I'm going to put it back on my side because honestly, since the format has evolved to the point where this deck is starting to side Mobius, which is what really hurt me at regionals, I'm definitely going to need Pulling the Rug back on my side deck to stop the Mobius onslaught. So Pulling the Rug is really good for that matchup. Stopping Mobius can win you games. Your best monsters for the deck. Right here listed to me are, in my opinion, the best 3 monsters. Thunder King Ryu. Thunder King Ryu. They can't get their searches. They can't make Dante. And it's a flexible card for multiple decks. It's the reason why Thunder King's are 1. Your best card for the deck probably be between these 2. Banisher Radiance and Abyss Dweller. Banisher Radiance, basically, if you open up, you go first, summon Banisher Radiance set 4. The deck probably auto loses, especially if you set something like a Emptiness or a some defense, something to protect Banisher Radiance so they won't get their cards going to the graveyard, and they're pretty much going to lose. And Abyss Dweller can honestly help you win against a matchup as well because, they, like once again, same concept. They can't resolve their graveyard effects. They will lose because you're going to be out advantaging them, and by the time they try to come back to you, you've been pretty much in a winning position of the game. Now, as always, I'm going to give you my best budget decks to fight the deck. And my best budget decks are Heroes. Now, I know Heroes aren't out yet, and you guys probably wondering, why is he mentioning Heroes? Well, Heroes will be out in January, and this card, Dark Law, is boss against the deck. Dark Law is a one-sided card. For you guys that don't know, tells your opponent to send every card they have. Well, every monster your opponent has goes to the banish zone, meaning if you go open up Dark Law first turn, which is so easy if you just run Summoner Monk, Dark Law, now every time they send a monster to the graveyard, it gets banished, so they can't resolve none of their graveyard effects. And anytime they try to search their deck for a card, let's say they do try to search our tour guide with another way or shape or means, Dark Law makes them shuffle their hand up and send a card to the graveyard. So very powerful card, and Heroes honestly is going to be one of the best decks in the format. It's going to be pretty budget, so it'd be kind of ridiculous not to have Heroes on my budget list. Quacky Mirrors, mainly because of the Quacky Mirror Draco, the guy that says your opponent can't special summon light and dark monsters. Well, both players can special summon light and dark monsters, which is really good because they won't be able to resolve tour guys, and yeah, they'll be able to resolve their graveyard effects. But then again, that's what the side deck for. Deciding your floodgates like Shadow Mirror. So if you can work out your floodgates with Shadow Mirrors and stop the tour guide plays, I believe you're pretty much in a good position against the deck. Same thing goes for Gear Gear. Gear Gear is you could buy 3 Gear Gear starter decks and pretty much have a deck right already. All you really have to do is invest into an Abyss Dweller, probably some Vanisher Radiances to help you out for game 2 and 3, and your Floodgates, and you're good to go for this matchup. Not to mention Gear Gear is a fast deck that's OTK heavy, so if you can trap stun them or hell even Rory to create them and shut all their traps off, because it is a trap heavy deck, you can just Gear Gear OTK them for game and beat them down with your Floodgate cards. So as a recap, these are the best budget decks to fight the deck. Your best monsters, get a good look. Your best summon traps, get one more good look. Your best Floodgates. The deck's weaknesses. The deck's strengths. And that's pretty much it. This was Jumbo21 with how to beat Burning Abyss. Comment down in the comment section below if this video was helpful for you. And also, always comment down in the comment section below how you guys beat Burning Abyss in this format. This is Jumbo21 with how to beat Burning Abyss. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'm out, guys. Deuces. Have a good night.